St. Stephen's Green Park. We're about to go inside here, folks. Hope the picture's all right. You can see everything. This right here is one of the entrances into St. Stephen's Green, and this is the Fusiliers Arch. I don't know if there's anybody on here watching, but I'm going to do this tour anyway. Hope you're all doing well, folks. Hope you're keeping well. So this is, as I say, St. Stephen's Green. It's the oldest of the 5 Georgian squares here in Dublin. Dates back to 1663. And we're going inside here. I say the Fusiliers Arch, which I'm going through right now, one of the main entrances into St. Stephen's Green. It's named after the Dublin Fusiliers. The Dublin Fusiliers were a branch of the British Army, and they were involved in the Second Boer War from 1899 up until 1902. There was 222 of the Irish soldiers that lost their lives during that conflict, and their names are here on the ceiling of all the names of all those soldiers that died in that conflict of the Boer War between 1899 and 1902 are engraved right here on the ceiling of the Fusiliers Arch. As you make our way into the beautiful St. Stephen's Green, one of the finest parks in all of anywhere in the world, I would say. It's absolutely beautiful. A lovely city park, the most popular city park here in Dublin. It's a lovely day out here too as well. Hi. Someone's saying hi to me. Anna, how are you? Good to see you, Anna. Welcome here. We're just doing a little test. Just checking how to do this. The first time I've ever done a live YouTube video. I've done probably about 80 something videos on YouTube, but none of them have been live. So they all would have been pre-recorded. But it's the first ever live one, so welcome. You're looking right here at the Fusiliers Arch. Sorry, at the excuse me. That's the Fusiliers Arch right there. This right here is the statue of O'Donovan Rossa. And O'Donovan Rossa was a Fenian. He was a freedom fighter, part of the IRB, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and also Clan na Gael. As I say, he was a revolutionary leader. He was imprisoned, was given a life sentence for organising a revolution. And he was sentenced in 1865, I say, to life imprisonment. But he got out after 5 years through amnesty, under the condition that he would not return to Ireland or to Great Britain ever again. So he moved to New York. And whilst in New York, he actually did more damage there as regards to the British Crown, because he got together all the Irish American community and was able to raise funds for the cause of Irish independence. Now, he was a very busy man as regards raising funds and so forth. And he's busy in other ways as well, because he was married 4 times and had 18 kids whilst in New York. He died in 1915. His body was brought back for burial here at Glasnevin Cemetery in Dublin, and he was given a hero's funeral. And speaking that day at his funeral was none other than Pádraig Pearse, one of the leaders of the 1916 Easter Rising, which was to happen the following year. So a great man in Irish history, O'Donovan Rossa, Jeremiah O'Donovan Rossa, a Cork man. And one of the 21 bridges that run across the River Liffey here in Dublin is named after him, the O'Donovan Rossa Bridge. Now we're making our way through the beautiful St. Stephen's Green Park right here. And in 1916, we just discussed that there was a war called the 1916 Easter Rising that took place throughout Dublin. And much of the fighting happened right here in St. Stephen's Green Park, where the Irish Citizen Army, as the Irish armies were made up of volunteer armies. As I say, one of these armies was the Irish Citizen Army, and the man in charge of this here at the St. Stephen's Green was Michael Mallon. But the second in command was a lady, and her name was Countess Markovich, otherwise known as Constance Gore Booth. And she was actually born in England to a very wealthy family. But they moved to County Sligo, called Lisdale House, so they're very, very wealthy people. But she was a revolutionary and a great soldier and a great patriot for Ireland. And she believed obviously in the cause for independence. So she was in second in command Now, this was a 6-day war. Obviously, at the end of this 6 days, the Irish contingent, made up, as I say, of volunteer armies, had to surrender as they were outnumbered and outmanned, outgunned, and so forth. And Countess Markievicz, believe it or not, was arrested by her first cousin, Captain Wheeler of the British Army. Now we're going to make our way down and we'll show you Countess Markievicz's statue right here in St. Stephen's Green. There's absolutely a beautiful garden right here with stunning Victorian flower beds. As you see, the tulips are coming up, daffodils, and what have you, geraniums, a wide range of different plants and flowers. But just to go back to Countess Markievicz, Constance Score Booth, as her name was originally, she got married to a Polish count while living in Paris, while studying there. And as I said, second in command of the 1916 Easter Rising. Now, for her role, she was sentenced to death once they were all arrested, when they were surrendered. But that was then commuted to life imprisonment, as there was a huge uproar because all of the leaders of the 1916 Easter Rising were executed, apart from Eamon de Valera. Eamon de Valera happened to be born in America, was an American citizen, and that's the reason why he wasn't executed, but the rest of the leaders were. But no women were. And Countess Markievicz, not only was she a soldier, but she was an actress, she was a suffragette, she was a revolutionary, she was a philanthropist, she was a freedom fighter, a politician, and a woman's rights activist as well. And here is the statue of the great Countess Markievicz right here in St. Stephen's Green Park. Now, she was also elected as the Minister of Labour in 1918 to a temporary government, if you like, in Ireland, and she actually was part of the Sinn Féin political group, which is the oldest political party here in Ireland. And she was elected to Westminster, the first woman ever to be elected to Westminster as a role as a politician here in Ireland and of the Sinn Féin party. But she never took her seat and instead dedicated her time to politics right here in Ireland and the cause of freedom. I see I got 7 people on. How you doing, folks? Good to see everybody. Hope you're doing well. This is just a test. I just logged on. I did not plan or post this as a tour. As I say, I just want to test it out because I'm doing a tour come this Friday of the National Stud here in County Kildare in Ireland. And also right there at that location you have the beautiful Japanese gardens. But as I say, I'm walking right through here at the beautiful St. Stephen's Green Park. Now this, as I said before at the beginning of the show, St. Stephen's Green is one of the 5 Georgian squares here of Dublin. It dates back to 1663, and it's the oldest of the 5 Georgian squares here in Dublin. And originally it would have been this park right here would have been a private park belonging to the key holders or the residents outside of the park here on St. Stephen's Green Square. But that all changed in the year 1880 when a man by the name of Lord Ardilaun, otherwise known as Arthur Guinness III, yes, one of the Guinness family members, the great-grandson of the founder of the Guinness Brewery, Arthur Guinness, who founded the Guinness Brewery in 1759. So it's like 1880. This man was very much a philanthropist, Arthur Guinness III, Lord Ardilaun, and he bought this park from the residents of St. Stephen's Green and opened it up as a public park to the people of Dublin or anybody that wished to visit, whether it be from any part of the country or visitors alike. And he also helped in the landscape of this beautiful park as well. He was an avid gardener. He was also the owner of the Guinness Brewery. Once he retired, he turned his attention to full-time philanthropy. The Guinness family were very much philanthropists, and they helped the poor people of Dublin. They even set up 1,600 units called the Ivy Trust buildings, or the Guinness Trust buildings. 1,600 apartments, or flats if you like, for the poor people of Dublin. And this is Lord Ardahn's statue right here. And we'll take a look at that from a frontal view. You'll see outside here, that is the Royal College of Surgeons. And the Royal College of Surgeons dates back to 1774. It's world renowned as one of the great College of Surgeons in all the whole entire world. It's represented by 60 different people, 60 different countries, students from 60 different countries who learn their trade as surgeons and usually go back to their own countries, mostly Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Now, this was also the scene of the 1916 Easter Rising, where the Irish Citizen Army, along with Countess Markievicz, they had to retreat from St. Stephen's Green Park as they're under heavy fire, and they made their way here to the College of Surgeons building. And you can see evidence of that here in the walls of the Royal College of Surgeons. These are all bullet holes. They're all out throughout this building from that conflict in the 1916 Easter Rising. Now we're going to go across the road. We're actually going to go back into St. Stephen's Green Park. But first of all, I want to show you the statue here of the great Lord Ardagh, Arthur Guinness. And the man that bought St. Stephen's Green Park from the residents in 1880 and opened it up to the public. And this statue, believe it or not, was not erected or paid for by the Guinness family, who were a very extremely wealthy family. It wasn't paid for by the Irish government, but it was paid for by the poor Irish people of the day, as in recognition of all what Lord Ardagh did for them during the course of his lifetime as regards helping the poor, helping house the poor, and looking after the poor people of Dublin. So the poor people, they all chipped in to pay for this monument dedicated to Lord Ardagh. Let's go back into the St. Stephen's Green Park. We're going to zigzag in and out of the park just to show you different parts of it. Now we're coming up here to there's actually a series of posters throughout the park telling you all about this conflict that happened, the war of the 1916 Easter Rising. Much of the action happens right here in St. Stephen's Green Park, and you'll see a series of posters so you can learn all about that conflict just by walking around this park. There's 22 acres here all told in St. Stephen's Green Park. As I say, making it the largest of the 5 Georgian squares here in Dublin. But have a look at this beautiful house that you see here, a beautiful Victorian home. And what it is, it's actually the superintendent's home. What a wonderful place for a superintendent to live, and they live here for free. Obviously, they're part of the OPW, the Office of Public Works, funded by the government. And the superintendent would live here also in this beautiful Victorian home, rent free. So it is pretty nice, it's lovely. Here's another poster telling you about the Superintendent Lodge right here. You got it in the Irish language and the English language, as you can see right there. Welcome, everybody's just joined us. If anybody's just logging on, I'm just doing basically a test. It's the first time I've ever done a YouTube live video, and I thought I'd just test it and see what it's all about, see if I'm doing it successfully. I don't know how the picture is, if you can see everything or not. I actually don't have a chat feature on here at the moment. I might be doing something wrong or whatever. Okay, there's Anna, said hello to me earlier. She's a virtual tourist. I'm not sure if there's anybody else on here because I can't see any chat, but I may be doing something wrong. Let me turn this on. Top chat, live chat. Let's go on to that. Welcome to live chat. Anybody wants to chat, they can actually do so as we make our way back outside of the park just for a minute and show you some other buildings. As I say, we're going to zigzag in and out of the park and try and show you most of St. Stephen's Green Square. Here's a map of St. Stephen's Green right here, as you can see. There's 2 ponds right here. We'll actually show you them ponds in just a little bit as well. And lots of trees. It's like 750 trees all told. Lots of wildlife also. Lots of bird life. So you got a lot of flora and fauna. Just want to show you this church right here, folks. And this is the Unitarian Church right here on St. Stephen's Green. It dates back to 1863. And it's one of the few Unitarian churches in all of Ireland. I don't know of any other ones in Dublin. I think there's one down in Cork. And that may be just it. There's not too many. And as I say, established in 1863. So it's for all Christian faiths. So congregation for all Christian faiths. It's in the beautiful Gothic revival style. This is a huge wedding venue. Lots of people get married right here. And then they go across into St. Stephen's Green Park for their wedding photographs. So there you go. We'll move on. I don't know what I'm doing wrong as regards to chat. I'm not seeing any of the chat. So, or if anybody is chatting to me, I don't know. Maybe I'll see it after the tour finishes. So I'm going to take you down here, folks, and show you another very important building right here on St. Stephen's Green. Now, as you notice, you see all these beautiful, what originally would have been homes. Today, they are not homes, they're all corporations. And also a lot of government buildings within St. Stephen's Green as well. We're at the south end of St. Stephen's Green Square. As I say before, the oldest of the 5 Georgian squares here in Dublin. Now, you'll see a grey building across to my right there. And that is the building, and the name of this building is Molly, M-O-L-I, Molly, which stands for Museum of Literature Ireland, Molly. And this celebrates all the great literary giants of Ireland, including James Joyce, William Butler Yeats, Samuel Beckett, Jonathan Swift, George Bernard Shaw, and of course, the great James Joyce. Now, this building originally was the University of Dublin, University College Dublin, UCD building. And this is the building, or the college, or the university that James Joyce attended. He graduated from here, I think, in around 1902. And inside here, you got 2 rooms that are dedicated to James Joyce. Now, this was the University College of Dublin up until the 1960s, the mid-1960s, when they then moved to a huge complex called Belfield, which is about 3 kilometres from here. And they have 25,000 students at the University College Dublin, UCD. But I say Joyce went here. I think he graduated in 1902 from this college. And inside here, as I said, there's a couple of exhibition rooms dedicated to James Joyce. And in one of these exhibition rooms, you will see the original, the very first copy of his masterpiece, Ulysses. So the first ever copy of Ulysses is housed right here in this wonderful museum, the Literary Museum of Ireland, Molly, Museum of Literature Ireland. And all the great literary giants of Ireland are celebrated in this one building. Now, next to it is the University Church right here, known as Cardinal Newman Church. Dates back to 1855. Known as a Catholic University Church. And now it looks really tiny, but it stretches all the way back, so it's not very wide, but it is pretty long. And they were going through some difficulties financially over the last decade or so. And then they were funded by the stewardship of the University of Notre Dame, South Bend, Indiana, the USA. So they actually funded a lot of the repairs and a lot of the upkeep to this beautiful church right here, Cardinal Newman Church. Cardinal Newman originally was an Anglican priest that converted to Catholicism and went on to become a cardinal in the Catholic religion. And as I say, he established that church in 1855. Now if you look at this other building over here, this white building that you see, this is where Ivy House is the name of this, and this is where Lord Ardlon, the man that I showed you a little earlier, who bought the park from the residents of St. Stephen's Green Square, and this is where he lived. Ivy House. Today it's a government building, the Department of Foreign Affairs. Behind this building you have the beautiful Ivy Gardens, also at one time owned by the Guinness family. Today that's a public park as well. We're going to go back inside St. Stephen's Green, and we're going to visit another statue of another famous Irish, well actually we just talked about him a little earlier. We'll talk a little bit more about him in just a minute. As you can see, some lovely pink blossom trees. I just love them blossom trees, you can't beat them, really nice. So here's the statue of the great James Joyce right here. Obviously it's very well located because it's just inside the park, right opposite the museum, or what was formerly UCD, University College Dublin, where James Joyce studied. And just tell you a little bit of the story of James Joyce, obviously known as one of the great writers in the English language, and his most famous work would have been Ulysses, a great book. And Ulysses tells the story of one day in the life of a man called Leopold Bloom, the lead character in the book, as he made his way around different locations in Dublin on that one day, the 16th of June 1904. Now this book wasn't published until 1922, but the scenes all take place in that one day, 16th of June 1904. Why did Joyce select this particular date? The reason why he did was because that's the first day he asked out his future wife Nora Barnacle on a date, and they went on to move shortly after their first date, which was on the 16th of June 1904. Today, the 16th of June each year is Bloomsday, and we have a Bloomsday festival here in Dublin where people dress up in period pieces, and there's lots of tours, Bloomsday tours, where they visit all the places that Leopold Bloom visited on that particular day on the 16th of June of 1904. Joyce went on to, shortly after he went on his first date with Nora Barnacle, about 4 or 5 months later, they left Ireland to go and live in Trieste in Italy. Then they spent 20 years in Paris, and then they moved on to Zurich because of the Second World War. Paris would not have been a place to be living with the war and so forth, so they moved to Zurich in Switzerland, and it was there just a couple of years later in 1941 that James Joyce died, January 1941, at the age of 58, nearly 59. He was just a few weeks shy of his 59th birthday. He died of a perforated ulcer, I believe. Now this really is a beautiful park, as you can see, and it's frequented by everybody from locals to business people working in the area to tourists and what have you. And you have some absolutely beautiful Victorian flower beds, as I see here, where you have tulips, and you have geraniums, wallflowers, petunias, all kinds of different plant life. It really is beautiful. And I say there's wonderful couple of ponds here, which are swans and everything. There's 750 trees, as I say, here in the park. Everything from sycamores to lime trees, oak, birch, holly, weeping willows, ash, laurel, hazel, what have you. So there's lots of birds also here in this, a lot of bird life. And in the pond, obviously, you have everything from mute swans to ducks, mallard ducks, moorhens, and numerous species of fish as well. And also you'll find the goldcrest here, magpies, robins, wrens. So a wide range of different bird life right here in the park. And over here you see the bandstand. This bandstand is frequented a lot by Trinity College students, as Trinity College is only a 5-minute walk away or less from right here. So students will come here, have their lunch in that bandstand. It's also a place during the summer months where anyone, because it's a public park, anyone can set up and play a few tunes, practice. Band members will practice their new songs and what have you right there at the bandstand. Now, talking about birds, I didn't even mention these ones, but you got a plethora of seagulls and pigeons all over the place. They hang out with the ducks, try to rob the ducks' food and everything else, because people very much are ready to feed the ducks here. They bring their bread with them and what have you. So folks, as I say, this was just a test, and I hope you enjoyed the tour here of St. Stephen's Green. Only did like 26 minutes or so, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, I have buy me a coffee right there. If you wish, you can buy me a coffee. And also, if you'd like to subscribe, if you do subscribe, then you'll be given notification of any upcoming live tours that I'll be doing. I'll be doing a big one this coming Friday at the Irish National Stud and Japanese Gardens in County Kildare. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful place. So I hope you can join me for that, folks. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll leave you here at the beautiful bandstand and pond at St. Stephen's Green Park. So have a great day, folks. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye now. Thanks, Poppy. Thanks, Janet. Thanks, Natasha. Thank you. I'm only reading it for the first time. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. You know, this is the first time I'm looking at the chat. Thanks, Hazel. Thanks, Gregory. Wow, I can't believe I had so many people on, because this is just a little test that I suddenly decided to go on. Now I'm trying to find my way on how to exit this tour, which I don't even know how to do. As I say, it's the first time I've ever done a live tour on YouTube. So I'm trying to find how do I exit. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes. Okay, there we go. Thank you, folks.